People have been talking in the chat, DMAC, about the Lions' offensive line and how this is the matchup to watch. And we've been conditioned, and I've been talking about this a lot over the last couple weeks. We've been conditioned to think that this Eagles team is the greatest defensive line ever in terms of sacking the quarterback. And it's just not that case. KG alluded to it earlier. They are a little less than middle of the road in terms of sacking the quarterback. Like, I know we're all terrified of it and things, but DMAC, I'll say this. Here's why I want the Lions offensive line, especially the interior of the offensive line, to play well. And it's got nothing to do actually with winning the game. For me, I want to see them play well so they get that narrative put to bed. And they have a good opportunity, because if they do play well in this game and they keep Jared Goff relatively clean, people are going to freak out and lose their minds and say, this is what I was talking about. When in reality, the numbers say that the Eagles aren't that great in terms of getting to the quarterback. They're just not. That's what the numbers say. But DMAC, with that being said, this is a big opportunity for that interior offensive line. And I wonder how far it'll go for their confidence, because do players buy into that sometimes, I guess, is the question, where we're all talking about it. Despite what the numbers say, the Eagles get celebrated as one of the greatest pass rushes of all time, even this season, even though they're not. Do players buy into a narrative like that from time to time?
No, I think with the Eagles, it's the pressure or the run game. So what players buy into is like what we're talking about, and Dan Campbell has said, is reestablishing the run game and to be an asset. And I think that's I'm not so worried about them getting to Goff. It's just being the big guys up front. Can we block down, and can we be consistent and continue to build on what we started again, more so developing the play action. It's all about the play action with Jared Goff, and you got to establish the run game. So if our guys can push the pile a little bit and establish that, then you're off and running, right? But it's just, I think it's with the pedigree and the guys that they have is stopping that. So when you ask me, do guys read into that? We want to be consistent, right? So it's just consistent play. You're worrying about doing your job and what it means. But if you can put tape and keep putting tape, you heard Jahmyr Gibbs the other day, like the Minnesota game was the worst tape that they ever did, and they don't want to put tape out like that ever again. So you take pride in what you're building. And I think that with how they've done it, they haven't done it with all the homegrown names, right? They pieced some patch. We saw Skipper in there. We saw Cologne in there. You look at the way the Coyotes played, right? So strengthen numbers, and that's what they got to continue to do. So they establish the play action, and they keep Goff upright. You're going to win this game. You're going to win most of those games that you play.
Woodward Sports chat thread, Detroit Lionheart. Eagles are 18th in total defense and bottom 10 in total offense, but they keep winning games somehow. And Lionheart,
I agree.
That's the other kind of secret about this Eagles team. They are kind of doing it with smoke and mirrors by the numbers. And look, I know they get a free pass because they won the Super Bowl last year, and that's the way it works. But with that being said, there has to be some regression to the mean at some point. There has to be. Either their numbers, either they have to go on a run and pump these numbers up, or there's going to be regression to the mean, because you are what you are in this league. And in the end, as KG likes to say, it was always going to be a wash. You're going to end up being representative of what your numbers are. Also in the chat, somebody said, don't the Lions have more sacks than the Eagles? Yes, they do. Almost double.
Yeah.
And that's with the sacks coming off of 3 of Jordan Love. And I keep seeing this in the chat, by the way. They held the Packers to 7 points, man. Dude, everybody holds the Packers down. Literally everybody.
Shout out the Panthers.
The Panthers did it. The Browns did it.
Damn,
even that Lions game that we thought was such a blowout. When you get into the numbers of that, their offense was very, very mid. It just was.
No, damn near all of the Packers' losses have come to teams they've held under 20 points, that's astounding to me. It's nuts.
Here's what the Philly stats tell you, right? And you're right as far as they get a pack, but they're vulnerable. They're vulnerable. That's what the stats tell you, is they're vulnerable defensively and their offense isn't clicking, do whatever, but they're a good team because they figure out how to win games. So you got to go and make those numbers, them feel those numbers, right? You can't make them the team and give them a chance and keep them in the game and stuff like this. You got to utilize and show everybody, yeah, they are this bad defensively, or their offense isn't clicking this much. You got to hammer them down. So that's their vulnerability right now. That's like they're vulnerable. They're not the Phillies, the big bad Phillies that we feared. They have some holes in them, and their holes, is some sort of self-implosion. So how do you feed on that? How do you make that fire in them? You know what I'm saying? To implode, it's discipline, and it's going in and playing that hard-nosed game and not giving them anything. If we don't give them anything, turnovers, first down penalties, pre-snap penalties, stuff. If we don't give them anything, we're going to win this game. But you got to play. You have to. You have to play that way because you're playing in that environment. I'm not worried about the environment. I think our guys will thrive on the environment. I think they like that stuff. It's just between the lines, it's keeping it disciplined. And I think they've done a better job. But this is a great, like you said earlier, Neil, for a guy like Brian Branch, who they're going to try to get him off his game, right? They're gonna key in on that. So how does he and the rest of his team keep him away from that? Because that'll be interesting.
Woodward Sports chat thread, Moneyline Rips, Packers offense is dog water. We got to have the Jordan Love talk again. I feel like Michael Weary in the super chat. What's the deal? I heard St. Brown is suspended. I have not heard that, Michael.
He's not.
For what?
Yeah, Adam Schefter hasn't tweeted about that, so I have not heard that. But anyway, where else were we? Woodward Sports chat thread, Randall Smalls. Philadelphia doesn't beat themselves. And that is true. Like, guys, I don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that Philadelphia is not good. I'm just saying that there is tangible evidence that you can point to that suggests to me that they are outperforming their metrics. You know what I'm saying? Like the truth is, when you drill down to the truth, that they're not quite a 7-2 football team, but they are, and that's the way the NFL works. So don't get it wrong. Like, I'm not saying they're not 7-2. Obviously they are, but there are signs, man. There's just, and I get that feeling. I can't wait for this game, guys.